Okay, today's episode brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Use code DNVR when you sign up to take advantage of their can't-miss offers. We got Benjamin Albright joining us today to talk about stuff. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that call.
Looking forward to that call that we haven't already had, you know?
I wonder what it'll talk about. What do you think?
I don't know. I asked him to come on the show.
I have some predictions. Actually, I'm going to keep them to myself. But I have one prediction, and that's that he carries 2 cell phones.
Ooh, bold. I don't know how you would know that.
Well, we're going to have to ask and find out.
All right, let's bring him on right now. Back for the first time ever by popular demand, because I want to learn about money. Benjamin Albright, Broncos insider, radio disc jockey, and just guy who probably has more suit jackets than me. So welcome, Ben.
We need to compare sometime. You might have me beat in the suit jacket department for sure. So I would, that would be a crippling blow to my ego.
Just a bunch of bright colors to distract from.
We'll have a jacket off.
Yeah, that's what the people tune in to see. Me and Brandon jacket off.
Yep, jacket off. It's a good old fashioned jacket off together podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know you're probably busy. I appreciate you coming on here. First question I want to ask, not Broncos related. Where do you think Carson Wentz is going to go, and do you think he's going to get moved?
They're considering it. I'll say this. I know the Bears have an offer in right now.
So that's true.
What's true?
That the Bears do have an offer.
Yes, they have an offer in. Is that out there or something? I've been sorry. The last hour, I've been in a meeting for the last hour.
It's like the one thing I've seen all over Twitter, and I'm like, I hope this is true, because if he goes to the team where Nick Foles is just sitting there waiting for him, it's such good like
Nick
shit for us to talk about.
Yeah, well, Nick won't.
Synchronicity.
Nick won't be there in Chicago next year. So, in fact, he might be here in Denver. But I know the Bears have an offer in. The Colts were looking at that, and I think the Texans are looking at it too. It's just kind of like a hedge against the Deshaun thing. So, but I like I said, I've been in a meeting for the last hour, so I don't know what the latest. I could be totally he could be traded right now, and I wouldn't know.
Right? No, I don't think he's been traded.
Okay. All right. Well, then I feel, I don't feel as remiss in my my insider duties.
Yeah, Adam Schefter's just tweeting out injury reports right now, so we're good.
Okay.
Boring.
Okay. Yeah,
I saw that.
We don't need that.
Yeah.
No. Everybody's fine.
Say, Will?
Oh, I was going to say that I saw that Andy Dalton had the best odds of becoming the Colts quarterback next season. Obviously, he's not even on the roster. What do you think is going to happen there?
And they'll explore that. I don't know that necessarily. I mean, that's one of them. He's another guy that could go to the Bears, and then Washington is also very interested in him. His former quarterbacks coach, Ken Zampese, is the QB coach in Washington as well. So keep an eye on the football team in that one.
Is that too much red with his hair though?
They clash. It's an orange.
Yeah,
orange,
it's not a good look.
It's not. And I think they should consider that. Obviously, I think too few teams consider quarterback hair color when making their choices.
I think he looked best in those purple TCU uniforms. So I think maybe the Vikings trade Kirk Cousins. He goes to Minnesota. I think that fits best. That's a good look.
I like it. It's dashing. It's bold. I like where your head's at.
Yeah. It's sartorial.
Okay. I wanted to learn something today, which is rare because I feel like I know enough to get by in life. So Will and I have talked about this before, in that the Broncos are no longer like a cash rich team. Like they used to be all right? Like you've got the salary cap, and you brought this to my attention on my sort of sarcastic tweet about the Broncos having enough cap space to acquire Deshaun Watson, because after the Chiefs turned $177 into $1 billion, I'm like, I don't ever want to hear a fucking cap complaint again by fans. Like, we don't need to know about it. Teams can manipulate it, but you've got to have cash flow, right? You've got to have cash in hand or in bank or in crypto. I don't know how it works, but for teams to put that against some of the salaries. So my point was the Broncos aren't going to lose out on Deshaun Watson because of the cap. I don't think they have the draft capital, but you're saying like they don't have the actual cash flow to do that right now. And I just want to understand like how that works or why that works, because he also pointed out like they sell out every game. They're one of the teams that is pretty good at generating revenue. So like, why would they be in trouble in that area?
Well, they're not totally in trouble. That's the thing. And, I was going to make a joke there about the Chiefs going from 177 to $1 billion in Bitcoin, but you snuck in the crypto line. So I was like, wow, I'm just tracing him at this point. No, it's people don't understand the difference between cash and cap. And the Broncos are not, you're not poor. You can't be a $3 billion organization to be poor.
Right.
But relatively speaking, in terms of the rest of the league, in terms of actual cash flow, they are a little bit more limited. Part of that has to do with not having a stadium rights deal that anybody was paying on the last couple of years,
Oh, yeah.
So, it's the amount of liquid cash available becomes a problem. And the reason that that's a problem is because guaranteed money in a contract has to be put into an escrow account within 2 weeks of that contract being signed. So when you have, these deals that are out there and they talk about, the money and all this kind of stuff, the actual fully guaranteed money has got to go into an escrow account. So you have to have that cash in order to be able to make that happen. And the Broncos have a double-edged sword going against them right now. Number one, they haven't had the stadium rights deal, and that sucks. And then number two, because the ownership is in a trust, there's really nowhere to go dip into cash reserves, like go hit an owner up and get in their pockets, like when Pat Bowlen was around. To be like, hey, we need to sign this guy. Can you write us a check for $5 million real quick? That kind of thing. And I know that sounds absurd, but that's something that actually happened, I believe, when what's his face was here, the pass rusher, Simeon Rice, whatever. And so they had to, in order to bring the guy in, they went to Pat Bowlen, hey, we need some extra money to get this, and he just cut him a check. And so the Broncos don't have that right now because everything's in a trust. You don't have an owner to dip in their pocket and do that. So it's not that the Broncos don't have the cash to get Deshaun. It's just it's going to be more difficult. And if you do get him, you're going to have to trade away a bunch, which we've already been over that. That's going to cost you a lot. And then on top of that, you're probably not going to be able to sign guys like Justin Simmons and Shelby Harris because the cash that you need for Watson and everything, you're not going to be able to lay out for those other guys. You just don't have it right now. So that's the real reason. It's cap. You can circumvent the cap by offering signing bonuses and spreading the hit out over a number of years.
And because it's fake.
Cash, right. You have to have the cash to be able to manipulate it. And that's why teams like the Rams and the Eagles that are loaded, where Stan Kroenke cut a check for his multi-billion-dollar stadium. That dude wrote a check. Like, I want baller money like that, where you could just write a check for a stadium. Like, this will clear. It's cool. But, Kroenke has that kind of money. Jeff Lurie has that kind of money. They have incredible amounts of cash reserves being able to donate to this, where the Broncos just don't have that situation right now. And that's really the problem.
Imagine how much more money Kroenke would have if people in Colorado could watch basketball games. Imagine that.
I just alley-ooped that right up to you. So
yeah,
to keep basketball parlance.
That makes sense.
What about a team like the Saints, who seem like they're in actual cap trouble? Is that part real?
They are in actual cap trouble, yes. Eventually the bill comes due. Here's the thing with that, is as long as you keep kicking the can down the road, eventually you're going to have a year where you're like, oh, holy hell, we're in super duper trouble. Now the Saints can get out from under it, but they're basically going to have to gut their defense. And the problem is with the Drew Brees thing, when you retire, it accelerates everything into that year. So that's the reason that they're in trouble, is that Drew Brees accelerates part of that, and then they were already pushed all in for Drew Brees' last year. They knew this was coming, though. They knew they were going to have a gutted year when he retired and then kind of start over.
Yeah.
So they just kind of knowingly mortgaged a couple of years.
Yeah, they pushed all in for this final season with Drew Brees, basically.
And then he, like a real wimp, broke 11 ribs and punctured his lung.
Like, who doesn't come back from that? I suffered worse getting on this podcast.
Yeah.
Did you see this paper cut?
That's 6 weeks. 6 weeks on the IR.
6 weeks
IR
off.
I'm not even sure I'm designated to return.
No.
Are you you're working in office now most of the time, or?
Not really. Most of the time, I don't work at all. So there's that. No,
That's a life.
yeah, no, I ran into that. I had to cut some. I cut a commercial last night, and apparently it was only 55 seconds instead of a minute, and that makes that's like the difference between life or death in radio, apparently. So, yeah, so I had to come re-record that for talking just a little bit too fast.
Talk a little slower so it goes out to a minute.
Right. Well, or the other trick, like if you ever heard a commercial where they repeat a phone number at the end, that's what happened. The guy was supposed to do a minute, but he only came up with like 58 seconds, so he repeats the phone number. I did a lot of. We repeated that gambling hotline number like 5 times to fill that commercial.
Brandon, do you know the number off the top of your head?
1-800-522-4700.
Yep.
Yeah, we know that gambling money.
Yeah, that's it. And I've even changed it up because nobody has a gambling problem unless they're not winning. So at the end, I'm just like, loser problem. Call 1-800-52. Yeah.
Marital problem.
It resonates real well with the people who want to pay us for these commercials.
Yeah. You got any predictions for the Broncos this offseason? Like, I know it's about a month and a half. We've got a lot of speculation. Broncos fans want to see Justin Simmons back. They want to see Shelby Harris back. They want to see everybody back.
And Deshaun Watson.
And have Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
You think who's going to break our heart because they're not coming back? Maybe is a better way to put that, in your opinion. Obviously, anything can change, and there's a new GM, so it probably makes it a little trickier. But
yeah, I would say, well, I'll try to put this as best I can. I believe that Justin Simmons and Shelby Harris will both be back. I firmly believe that. The question right now, and I know everybody's like overreading it because of his Instagram. Don't do that. That has nothing to do with anything. Is Von Miller. That might be a heartbreak for some people. I don't think that AJ Bouye is going to be back. I don't think Jarrell Casey is going to be back. I don't think those are heartbreakers for anybody. And the big question mark really is Phil Lindsay. If Phil Lindsay's going to be back or not, how they work that out. If they tender him because he's a restricted free agent.
Right.
So if they tender him at the second round, it's like $2.5 million to keep him for one season, or they could give him an original round tender, which means that he can basically go on the market and they have the right to match any contract. So it depends on what tender they put on Phil Lindsay, whether or not he's back. So I think those are probably the big names. I don't believe Deshaun Watson is going to wind up here. That's my personal opinion.
I don't think any of us actually believe it, but we're going to have hope.
Right. But I totally photoshopped me, I photoshopped me already like hanging out with him and stuff. So it's, it's whatever.
Yeah.
No, I don't think. I think that if the Broncos and they will look for a quarterback with some veteran experience, but I think you're probably looking at somebody like we mentioned Andy Dalton, probably Dalton or Nick Foles, who has experience in Pat Shurmur's offense, or my personal favorite, Gardner Minshew, because that would be the coolest quarterback room of all time.
Underrated. That signing would get me excited.
If we do have a Jacket Off podcast, I feel like he should be invited.
Oh yeah. If they get Gardner Minshew, I will do the mullet just to get his attention to come on our show. I'll go full mullet and I'll be like, I'm going to wear this until you agree to come on our podcast. And then it'll probably
I'll double down. I'll do it with you.
Perfect. You got to grow a lot more hair.
Yeah, it's I've turned 40. It's thinning. It's nobody wants a mullet out of this.
You got a few months.
A couple months.
There's time.
Yeah. I got a solid 6 months left.
Yeah. I have a question. Do you carry 2 cell phones like Adam Schefter, or perhaps more? How many cell phones?
Is it douchebaggy if I say yes?
No,
yes,
fair.
I have 2 cell phones. I do.
Nice. How many pages?
Really? Well, I've got the cool flip pager that I kind of tuck into the jean pocket over here. And then I've got the other pager that I put on the outside. That's like just an advertisement that, hey, I've got a pager. Like I am that cool. So, it's really like I try to symmetry, one for the phone, one pager per phone.
Is there a difference between the phones, or is it just literally to talk out of, either side of your mouth?
No, it's to look like a huge douche. No, they're both, and yeah, I get trouble from the iPhone crowd. They're both Androids. They're both Samsungs. The reason that I have the two phones is because the battery wears down so quick. Because I'm on both of them, so that I can keep one charging and go, and then I can use what's called a burner number on there for each of the things, so that I can keep cycling through.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
I think we should do that, Brandon.
It's like burner phones, most popular with drug dealers and NFL newsbreakers.
Right. I hope to meet an NFL newsbreaker one day. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's an awesome Venn diagram. A lot of overlap.
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything more for you, Ben. I appreciate you jumping on. I gave you very little notice. It was just our Twitter exchange. It's like, I actually want to know what the cash thing really is, because Will and I have guessed about it many times, but we're like, we'll look into it, and then we
love to guess and not actually know.
Yeah.
Right. Well, now you know. That's a down and dirty primer, and I was happy. This is actually the pinnacle of my career here. I tried to get my agent to get me on. That's good, and finally when you reached out, I was like, look, I can die a happy man.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't answer a lot of agents' calls anymore. It's just like, don't waste my time.
Right.
Unless it's Deshaun Watson's agent, I ain't answering the phone.
Right. Yeah. You just, you got David Mulligata on speed dial. It's cool.
Yeah. Isn't he like account for more money than any other agent right now in terms of player contracts? That's fucking badass.
Yes, he is. He is that guy. He is the guy that when you unzip him and put him on the table, his is bigger.
All right, Ben, thanks for joining us, man. Well, really appreciate Ben joining us. And we were talking about stuff there. And I will say this is some more stuff. The 55th big game is this weekend. 55. A game this big deserves a big prize, not just some dumb trophy. To finish off the football season, DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is giving all players a no-brainer of an offer. To celebrate football's finale, DraftKings Sportsbook is doubling your money if a touchdown is scored in the big game. That's right. All it takes is for one touchdown to be scored Sunday night, and boom, your money is doubled. Sounds like a no-brainer. Now, it will be pretty funny if no touchdowns are scored in this game.
Has there been a touchdown-less Super Bowl? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think the closest one was a couple of years ago with the Rams and the Patriots.
Yeah. As if this game wasn't enough reason to party, with double the cash, you'll be celebrating till next season. Don't forget DraftKings Big Game Prediction Challenge with up to $55 million in total prizes up for grabs and instant prizes for everyone who enters the contest. DraftKings has paid out over $7 billion to its players since 2012, so they know a thing or two about big paydays. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code DNVR to get a shot at doubling your money if a touchdown is scored in Sunday's game. That's promo code DNVR to get a shot at doubling your money during Sunday night's season finale, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Got to be 21 or older. Colorado only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/prediction-challenge-DFS for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Woo, doggy. Got my lung strength back. Not
Nice
really.
work.
I tried to exercise for the first time in 3 weeks after being sick, and it was the hardest workout I've ever done in my life.
It sucks. I started getting back into trying to run after I had shingles, and my whole body just caved in on itself.
Yeah, it's not good.
It sucks.
I've been really good about exercising over the last year and a half. So I felt great, right? And when you're working out, you feel strong. It's only really hard when you push yourself and you start to think why doesn't everybody exercise? Everybody should do that. It's not that hard. Yeah. Once you're in that rhythm.
You start to hate people who don't master their own bodies like you do.
Right. And then you get sick for 3 weeks and you do one workout and it is so fucking hard. And you go, oh yeah, if this was your first experience, trying to get healthy and exercise, you'd be like, nah, this ain't for me, man. I'm not doing this shit every day. Are you kidding me?
It's the most horrible irony of the human body is that, we die. But also that it takes basically 3 weeks to get into shape and it takes 1 week to get out of shape.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's not fair at all. It's so
No.
fucking.
There's like that Seinfeld bit about like the only reason we work out is so we can make it through a workout.
Yeah,
Right?
pretty much.
Like, you're not training for anything except so you can do this thing that you don't want to do.
Yeah. But Jerry also had to fit into those size 32 jeans, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or were they 30? Were they?
They were they were 32s that he changed the 2 into a 0 or some shit like that.
Ah, that's right.
But honestly, if you go back, Seinfeld pretty fit. Like there's a couple episodes with his shirt off. You're like, Jerry kept in shape. Jerry went to the gym.
He was hairy chested like you and I.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was yeah, I mean, they went to the health club in episodes like the Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they hung out and played basketball and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He probably had to climb a lot of stairs in that apartment. Or maybe
I bet.
they probably had an elevator.
Yeah. I don't want to give away like my $1 billion idea, but I want to open a, it's called like, I don't know, like sitcom hotel or some bullshit. Mm-hmm. And all the hotel rooms are sitcom set rooms. So it's like the bottom level is like Schitt's Creek. So you got like the basic shitty ones. You got the Seinfeld rooms, you got the Friends rooms. Like the highest price rooms are your Frasers, or your luxury Frasier suites.
Yeah.
Like I just think you could have like the fucking Married with Children room, like all these things is something I personally would pay to go stay and feel like you're living in one of those sets, and it would be pretty cool.
The Friends apartment is really nice.
Friends apartment's really nice. Well, you'd have like the girls, and then you'd have Joey and Chandler's apartment, so it's a little bit cheaper.
Of course.
Yeah. I just watched through New Girl. Their whole loft is like really huge. That's probably not a popular enough show to throw into this hotel, but I was talking to Jess. I'm like, these people who like in the show, like they don't have a lot of money, but somehow they live in this giant fucking luxury loft that would cost a ton of money.
That's always frustrating. The one that people bring up a lot is Sex and the City.
Oh, right.
Carrie Bradshaw's apartment. Her job is like she writes like one column a week. And that's it.
She was like a blogger before bloggers were even getting paid.
Yeah. And that was enough to like finance her like shoe habit, her shoe addiction, and a really nice apartment.
Yeah.
In New York City, in Manhattan. Yeah. That's crazy to me.
You'd have the home improvement floor, and then maybe the penthouse is just the Fresh Prince. So it's just
that's something. Could you do like a cartoon, recreate a cartoon kind of
like a Simpsons room?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. The Simpsons room's not super exciting, but maybe like Hey Arnold.
Ooh.
Hey Arnold.
It's like a kid's show, This is for adults.
Yeah, I guess so.
This is a hotel for adults, Will.
Yeah, that was past your time. You're too cool.
Yeah.
You were watching kids shows back then.
No. Anyway,
that's a good idea.
Anything we should wrap up with what we talked about with Ben?
He thinks that Justin Simmons and Shelby Harris are back. AJ Boye and Jarrell Casey are not.
Yeah, I don't know why they would like. The general narrative has been that the Broncos should just let AJ go. Obviously, it depends on if they can get a better corner through free agency and they can draft a guy. Like they can do that, that's fine. But
I really wish the draft was before free agency. I know the players are really against that, and the players union won't let that happen. But it would make things so much easier.
Yeah.
You don't know who can get in the draft.
Logistically, it makes so much more sense for teams.
Right. Yeah. There's that one lockout year in 2011 where they had free agency after the draft. And made a little more sense.
Yeah. Maybe that's the next episode we do is like 5 corners the Broncos should target in free agency. Because that's obviously it's like a huge need. I just think AJ got a bad rap this year. Like he wasn't great, but he was the second best corner on the team. Yeah. So, when you lose all the corners they did, for me, I'm like, just bring him back, maybe sign another guy and hopefully draft a guy. Mm-hmm. And hopefully guys like, OJ Moutier play better next year. And, you can build on that, but
saying Bassey.
He's saying Bassey. Yeah, he was starting to kind of play decent too. And then
right when he got hurt.
Tore that ACL up.
Yeah. That's what kind of year it was.
Yep. I tried to already forget it.
I'm in the process of blocking it out. Soon enough.
Soon enough. All right, guys. Well, enjoy the Super Bowl this weekend. Yeah, right. Broncos fans gonna enjoy this game.
No.
Again, only if Shaq Barrett wins MVP can we enjoy it.
Blaine Gabbert.
Oh yeah, or Blaine. Blaine is the dream. Shaq is
Blaine. We're on the Blaine train.
The Blaine train.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady gets a false positive day of Super Bowl, not allowed to play. Blaine Gabbert starts. Perfect.
What would really happen if that was the case?
I don't know.
It just wouldn't happen.
Don't let him play.
They wouldn't let that happen. Yeah.
That's how that would be the sneakiest thing to do. Like if there were some powerful mafia gamblers out there.
Do you think Tom Brady maybe sent that barber?
Oh, for sure.
I think he might have been behind that.
Yeah, we talked about that on the Odd Man Sports. That was like the opening sort of bit, but it's just crazy. Like the barber was tested a whole bunch of times, like 5 straight days before doing it. It just shows don't take that fucking risk this week.
Yeah.
I
think they're fine if you have both parties wearing a mask, even for a haircut, you're pretty safe.
Yeah. And they're going to be fine. I thought was it Kilgore's, the chief center, and he posted the picture of just half of his head shaved. That was pretty solid. I like when guys are funny on social media,
I enjoy that. I enjoy
humor.
Mm-hmm. Not for myself, but
no,
other people, sure.
I don't know how to write it per se, but I like when other people do it.
We'll figure it out one of these days.
Yes, we will. Okay, good night and good luck.